my friend, and good morning to you, or whatever time it is to you. It's morning here, so I'm drinking coffee, and this is the exact same intro as my last video, so I hope you noticed that, and if you didn't, you should go watch my last video, because this one is pretty much a continuation of the same thing, because the week after my birthday, my wife and I, Liz, had a trip to the Grand Tetons. We were on our way out there because Liz was photographing an elopement and I was not doing video this time around. And so I decided I should make a film YouTube video because the Grand Tetons are one of our favorite places in the world. We get to go there about once a year and it's just incredible every time. And this time I decided I was going to shoot some film, make this video, and I'm just really happy with how it turned out. So we only live about 15 hours away, which is a day and a half of driving, so we road tripped it, and we did not make it 30 minutes out of our house before I had to stop and take these pictures. It was just awesome to meet Jim, hear about his old truck, and then we had to quickly get back on the road, and you're gonna see a lot of dashboard footage.
West Texas disposition and the temperature's like mine. It's a tunnel kind of vision, like alcohol's involved. And I stray like a hound dog, and I'ma come back when she calls. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls,
so that night we arrived at our hotel about 4 hours away from the Grand Teton National Park, and the hotel next to us, of course, had this beautiful neon sign, so you know I had to photograph it. But it was here that I learned a lesson about those UV filters on the front of your lens. I usually just keep them on film cameras for the sake of protecting the lens because they're old and I just don't want anything to break and they're easy to leave on there. But apparently this weird inverted reflection thing happens when you shoot in the night. I don't know if it's just neon. Somebody help me out here, but as far as I could learn and read online, that's what happened with that weird inverted reflection, was a daylight filter. Anyway, the next day we were able to drive a little bit slower, and I had just gotten my Canonet QL17 back from the shop with the CLA, and I loaded that up, and I also loaded up the Canon Demi EE17 because I just love half frame, and eventually I'm gonna make a half frame video, but I've still got a couple of things that I want to do before then.
Cotton clouds, one-time towns, with strangers dancing in the daylight. Wild winds and summer flings saying, see you somewhere on the timeline. But she said, ooh. Southern skies, rolling nights, waking up wherever, in the arms of a perfect power lover, you will follow for forever. She said, ooh. Shores with boats balanced on the water. Soon we'll be just a memory. You will tell a little taller, like she said.
You're gonna see a lot of photos here in this midday lighting out in the mountains. And I like these photos. They help me to remember our trip, and they gave us a fun excuse to kind of get out of the car and explore the area and explore some things we haven't seen. But the main reason I took these photos is because when you go to the Grand Tetons National Park, it is almost impossible not to point your camera at the Grand Tetons all the time. And so in effort to point my camera at some different and unique subjects, I just wanted to get out and point my camera anywhere else that was not the mountain range. And sure enough, I'm not terribly pleased with any of the images, but I like them. I'm glad I did it. And we do hit up the mountains with some better light later on.
Out of the blue, the deep, deep blue, you wanted to let me know you made it back to town. You're better now. And would I meet you down at Casita? We could take the long road to the bottom of a bottle of tequila. And God knows I need you, 'cause I'm still trying to take the high road. But I lost my wind a mile ago, and I don't think that I can hold on. I left my keys on the stairs. You know I do that all the time. I knocked and called out your name. I beat my knuckles raw, just to feel nothing at all. So would you meet me down at the sea breeze? I'll try to keep my mouth shut, but could you bring the spare key, please? And I'm still trying.
After spending a lot of the early part of the day on different subjects, it was time for sunset, and we had to go location scout for Liz's elopement that we were photographing, and so we headed to one of the best spots in the park.
A mile ago, and I don't think that I'm still trying to take the high road. But I lost my wind a mile ago, and I don't think that I can hold on.
I never practiced piano when I was a boy, and I still ain't working to perfect guitar. I never read my lesson books like others did, the way they looked in study halls while I mapped out the stars. Sometimes I forget to do the things that others do. I take it as it's handed like a hopeful kid in June. So sometimes I'm attracted to the howling wind and moon. But I learned it there, I learned a thing or two. I only know the bills I owe and overdue, and I swear the lost and found is my estate. When Uncle Sam asked where's my plate, I said come in, he said I'll wait. I ran away, I always run away. Sometimes I forget to do the things that others do. Take it as it's handing like some bourbon on the room. Sometimes I'll be up and drunk, my problems on a few. But I'll learn there, I'll learn a thing or two. When you were coming, oh, I learned your name. And I tried to make it all seem by mistake.
I'm pretty happy with most of those photos from Monroe. I just love that area. And it's one of the most photographed places probably in the national park system. Even when you're there are just usually swarms of other people around. But it's still just so fun. It's one of those places that you could photograph 100 times and you're aware that other people have photographed 100 times, and yet it's still special and beautiful every time. After those shots though, we did try to catch the last little bit of golden light and into blue hour, because we love blue hour in the Grand Tetons, and so we headed to a new location trying to catch that last little bit of light.
Why don't you say it? There's something on your mind, you need to let it out. Are we not tired of these games? Where love is peaceful, love is pain. And I've been chasing all these hateful words, and now they're out of sight. So you can stand here alone. Love is patient, love is strong. And daylight, it strips away these old ideas. Strips away these old ideas. And you lay watching, shaping every cloud with a playful stare. You ask if heaven's prepared. Love is bruised, love is scared. Now you're stranded, cast upon these shores. I'll watch you suffer on. Your feet too scared to get wet. Love's defeated, love's regret. Strips away these old ideas.
Just as we thought the night was over, we were approached by some people on our way back to our car, and they told us that there was a moose spotted just like a half-mile little walk away from where we were. So I took off down the trail trying to make it as soon as possible, but I was just a little bit too late. And it's kind of hilarious because it seems like every time I go to a national park, I always want to see the majestic, incredible wildlife, and somehow I always miss it. the bears, the mooses, the everything cool. Somehow it just always seems to avoid me. But the next day something cool happened. We were up at about 4 a.m. for the sunrise elopement to happen, and it was just such a good time spending time with this couple and their family, and they actually announced that they were pregnant during the elopement, and it was just crazy to see the reactions and the whole thing. So this was a good time. Afterwards, we had to get going, and so we only got to spend half the day in the park, and we still got the one shot that I probably am most happy with just for my own reasons.
And you may have the road which I won't, but my soul, it is mine. You can have my hands and all the things I make. You can have my money, it's already yours to take. You can have the road which I go, but my soul is mine.
Yep, that was it. We finally saw a buffalo. That is what I was most happy with. It's hilarious because when you go to national parks, so many people, you know, that's not impressive to just see the wildlife. And I grew up with a lot of wildlife around me, but still, when I go to national parks, somehow I just always miss out. And so seeing that buffalo was really fun and just hilarious, actually. So I love that photo, but afterwards we really had to get going because we needed to make up a lot of time on the road.
And though you own the feet which I go, still my soul.
But of course we couldn't spend that much time on the road without stopping because we got a little bit of a later start. Now the light was starting to get into the golden hour of sunset, and so we inevitably had to make at least one or two more stops, and I'm really glad we did because they were some beautiful little spots that we found.
They are all yours to kill, and tell me where I can and cannot go. Still my soul is mine. Still my soul is my own.
After those, we pretty much just booked it home. We didn't really have any more time for stops, and so we made it back home. I went and got the rolls developed, scanned them myself, and here we are 4 months later, and now it's winter in Kansas, and I'm really glad that we were able to make that trip, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, Fuji content is still going to be here on the channel, but if you like film photography stuff, please let me know. Subscribe, comment, say hello. Catch you in the next one. See ya.
My soul is mine.